I'd like to thank you all for coming out to the 8th Annual Public Safety Awards, honoring public safety personnel here in Frederick County. Your Frederick County Chamber produces well over 120 events a year, but I have to tell you, for everyone who works for your chamber, who serves on your board or volunteers, this is our best event and the one we most look forward to every year. We still have a line of folks coming through registration, which is a good thing, but I want to make sure we at least get folks into the hall before we begin the next part of our program. So after begging you to please sit, which was really just to get you to stop talking, I'm now going to ask you to please stand for the presentation of colors by a combined Frederick County Public Safety Honor Guard, accompanied by the Montgomery County firefighters, pipes, and drums. We'd like to take a moment of silence to remember our fallen heroes, and today in special remembrance of House of Delegates Speaker Michael Aaron Bush of Annapolis, who passed Sunday afternoon. Thank you. Please remain standing for the playing of the national anthem, followed by the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Right. Forward. please remain standing as Pastor Tim May, the chaplain for the Frederick County Sheriff's Office, delivers this morning's invocation.
Let us pray. Gracious God, the giver of all that is good and perfect, we thank you of the blessing of this day. Father, as we begin this day, we begin in gratitude. Gratitude for the men and women, for those who serve us, who have taken on the term of servanthood. Gracious God, I pray blessings upon them, protection on them in their service, comfort for their families who suffer the time of separation. Father, we thank you for the many blessings that we have, the blessings of this country, protected by those men and women who serve in harm's way, protected by the men and women who serve in harm's way in our county, in our cities. Father, we have given so much, for you have given us even more. Continue to bless us in our walk with you. And Father, just P.S., thank you for the University of Virginia. Amen.
We're all here to support the brave men and women who keep Frederick County safe. It's our honor to present these awards today to recognize their selfless service and their heroic actions. We have some elected officials with us today, and I want to introduce them to you. So here's how I'm going to do that. This is a test in your ability to follow simple instructions, something my staff has to depend on dealing with me every day. I'm going to ask our elected officials to stand to be recognized, but hold your applause because it is kind of a long list and we'll be adding time if we stop and pause and clap for each of our elected officials. So save your applause and your cheers for a rousing send-off at the end of our introductions. First, our county executive, Jan Gardner. From the county council, Council Member Mike Blue, and Steve McKay, RSVP, but I haven't seen Council Member McKay. From the city of Frederick, the mayor of the city of Frederick, Michael O'Connor. From the Board of Aldermen, Alderman Kelly Russell and Alderman Derek Shackelford. From the city of Brunswick, our mayor, Jeff Snoots, and council members Nathan Brown, Andy St. John, and Tom Smith, and Angel White. From Carroll County, we're honored to be joined today by the Sheriff of Carroll County, Mr. Jim DeWeese. Sheriff, thank you. And finally, the Field Director for Western Maryland Operations for United States Senator Ben Cardin, our good friend, Robin Summerfield. Thank you all. Now, thank you very much. We also have representation from all of Frederick County's public safety departments, and many of them will be joining us on stage later to actually present awards. First, my good friend, I love saying that, my good friend, the Chief of Police of the City of Brunswick, and it's not just because I drive a lot in Brunswick and I need to be on his good side, but he really is genuinely a good guy and one of my favorite people, Milt Fretch. From the Division of Fire and Rescue Services, Chief Tom Owens. The Director of our Emergency Operations Communications Center, Mr. Phil Lambert. Frederick County Animal Control Director, Linda Shea. Frederick City Chief of Police, Ed Hargis. Frederick County Sheriff's Office, I should have introduced him in the elected officials. And he is one of my best friends in Frederick County, so he's probably going to give me a lecture about that later. But without regard, Sheriff Chuck Jenkins. And we're honored to be joined by First Sergeant from the Maryland State Police, Jim Egros. Sergeant Egros, thank you for being here. How about a round of applause for all these exceptional leaders? I joke and joke with many of you this morning that this is and Christy will confirm this is an easy event for us to find people who are willing to support because of who we're honoring. But that doesn't mean that we shouldn't recognize and deeply appreciate our sponsors. So I will read through the list of sponsors again, hold your applause so that we get one big rousing roar at the end. Our gold sponsors, AstraZeneca, Complete Document Solutions, Corp OHS, Frederick County Government, the Communications Department, Hankey's Radio, Paul Davis Restoration, Potomac Edison. Our silver sponsors, Audio Video Group, Frederick Brickworks, Frederick County Bank, Old Line Bank, Rehab to Perform, and our bronze sponsors, Leidos Biomedical Research, Mid-Atlantic Center for Emergency Management, the Plamondon Companies, and Stauffer Funeral Homes. Thank you also to all the table sponsors, program advertisers, and those who help sponsor the award recipients, their families, and other men and women of the public service divisions. Putting on an event like this takes a talented team of organizers, and I want you to know who they are. From our staff at the Chamber, our amazing events coordinator, Christy Butler, Deputy Chief Tom Coe, Corporal Kevin Forrest, Chief Milt Fretch, Ms. Karen Myers, Lieutenant Jason Null, Mr. Tom Plant, and Acting Sergeant Simon Temple. Also, a big thank you to the volunteers of the Brunswick Volunteer Fire Company, the Carroll Manor Volunteer Fire Company, and Independent Hose Company for another wonderful breakfast this morning. We'd like to thank DFRS Recruit Class 24 for their help in setting up tables and chairs yesterday. The interviews that you will see recorded today and the taping of this event are courtesy of the amazing crew at Frederick County Government's Communications Department, a real treasure in our county. And last, but not least, a big thank you to the hardworking Chamber staff who work behind the scenes to bring this all together. How about a big round of applause? Before I introduce you to our MC for this morning, it's my honor and privilege to invite County Executive Jan Gardner to the stage. While we were sitting here having breakfast, I realized that we have known one another since 1997. So it's amazing how much time has passed. But anyway, without further ado, County Executive Jan Gardner.
We've come a long way since 1997, Rick. I'd like to say we're still the same age, but I don't think I can go for that one. So good morning, everyone. It's really wonderful to see so many of you here today to support those who serve us in public safety. This annual awards ceremony is truly a wonderful event. Today, we have the opportunity and the pleasure to thank and acknowledge the law enforcement officers, firefighters, paramedics, 911 call takers, correction officers, animal control officers, who all work so hard each and every day in our community to keep all of us safe. I really want to extend appreciation to the Chamber of Commerce for their recognition for our emergency first responders and our public safety employees. This recognition is truly well-deserved. These men and women are our local heroes. They exhibit dedication and duty above self every day. Each time we have a new class of fire and rescue recruits, I tell them that public safety jobs are among the most important jobs that we have in local government, and they are positions of trust. Not only will these individuals save lives and protect property, they'll provide comfort to people who are facing one of their worst days. Public safety jobs are really fundamentally all about serving people. And Frederick County is blessed to have so many wonderful public servants who are willing to give their time and their talent and to risk their lives on occasion to help others and to care for people and to take care of our community. The men and women in public safety roles perform many difficult tasks. It is a physically, emotionally, and mentally draining job. So the next time you see someone outside of this event in law enforcement, corrections, fire, EMS, or someone from 911 communications, please let them know how much you appreciate what they do. Let's keep it going beyond today's event. So to those who will be recognized today, congratulations. Thank you for a job well done, and thank you for serving our community. Thank you, Rick.
So before I introduce our MC, I just want to tell you for just a second why this matters so much to me. So we all sit around a dining room table, and when our family gathers, we look around that table And when you get my age, you inevitably think back on all the things that have brought that group of people to where they are around that table. And around my table, when my whole family gets together, I have a lieutenant who works for DFRS as a son-in-law. I have a daughter who is a licensed emergency communicator and who works for the Frederick County Sheriff's Office. I have a son who works up in Hagerstown for the State Department of Public Safety and Corrections. Ladies and gentlemen, this is me. Being here is me. And being with all of you is the best part of what I get to do. So without further ado, I would like to introduce our MC for today's event, Mr. Clark Briggs. Clark is a vice president with Frederick County Bank, where he works in their downtown main office in relationship management and business development. He has lived in Frederick County for 19 years with his wife and child. He currently serves on the board of directors for the Mental Health Association and is active with the Frederick County Chamber of Commerce and a graduate of Leadership Frederick County. When he's not busy building relationships with Frederick County businesses, he can be found enjoying his time with his family, playing guitar, and if you're his Facebook friend, you get to see and hear that, and volunteering with local organizations. The last part I love. Since purchasing a drum set for his granddaughter, Georgia. Now, that is entirely a grandfather move to buy a drum set that will ostensibly stay in a home different than the one you own, so congratulations, Clark. But since he's bought that drum set for his granddaughter, Georgia, he's been teaching her how to play music from some of the greatest rock bands in history. Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Clark Briggs.
By the way, that drum set's back at my house. Thank you, Rick, and thank you to all of you that have joined us in honoring the brave men and women here today. It's such an honor to be here today for such an inspiring event, and it's my privilege to be part of the 8th Annual Public Safety Awards. All the honorees today have been carefully selected by an unbiased panel of judges. Thank you to those who submitted the nominations, and an even bigger thank you to all the men and women who make the selfless sacrifices every day in Frederick County to keep our businesses and families safe. Please let us give them all a round of applause. For each award, I'll announce the award category, share a little bit about the honoree, and then a short video clip will play. The honoree or honorees will make their way to the stage, entering from the right and exiting to the left. You can read more about the honorees in the program. All honorees, nominators, and supervisors, please stay after the ceremony for formal pictures. The first 5 awards are for the Frederick County Sheriff's Office, with the first award being the Civilian Employee of the Year, which honors a non-sworn employee of the department. This award is given to someone who promotes a positive image of the department while displaying professionalism, self-initiative, as well as superior work and ethical standards. All these qualities that are routinely used when describing the agency's evidence custodian, Brenda Smith. Brenda joined the Frederick County Sheriff's Office in 1999. Since then, she's been instrumental in implementing changes and introducing systems to ensure that evidence is categorized and stored properly. Her organizational skills are an asset to an agency that processed nearly 6,000 pieces of evidence in 2018. In late 2017, the Sheriff's Office fielded a new system to track evidence. She taught herself how to fully utilize the program, and then in 2018, she created accounts for everyone in the agency and went on to teach them how to use the program.
The thing I like the most about my job is that I don't do the same thing every day. I'm not stuck to a desk all day. Anything, like things happen at a moment's notice and then like your day is just flipped upside down. Typically I would come in and collect all the evidence that was brought in overnight by the deputies, process that in, tag it, put it back in the storage locations. I'm also responsible for releasing all of the firearms that are brought into the agency. So that requires doing background checks, a lengthy question and answer with the owner before they can get them back. Being selected for Civilian of the Year, I'm very grateful. I'm thrilled to be acknowledged for the hard work that I do. It really makes me feel good and very proud. And I'm very proud for where I work as well. I love working for the Sheriff's Office.
Congratulations, Brenda Smith. The Distinguished Service Award is given to a deputy who has distinguished himself from all others of rank or position. He consistently performs above expectation, demonstrates responsibility, and initiated a credible accomplishment in 2018. This award goes to an incredible team who played an essential role in successful operations for the Sheriff's Office. Deputy First Class Miller Yakovic and K-9 Ike conducted several large-scale drug searches, which resulted in the recovery of large amounts of various drugs, currency, and related drug paraphernalia. Ike has been specifically trained in narcotics detection and patrol apprehension and has proven his prowess in both. Deputy First Class Yakovic and Ike were also instrumental in the apprehension of a felony suspect that had stolen a car and fled from officers. Statistics from their work during 2018 can be found in the program. It's safe to say that 2018 was a very busy year for this team.
Once you get hired with the Sheriff's Office, if you decide to go a specialty route like K-9, you have to put in for it. They do a home visit and they make sure that your house is adequate enough to keep a K-9 in proper working condition. He's considered a tool for the agency. If we don't have the tools or the resources available readily and we have exigent circumstances, we can use him to track for those individuals. A lot of the guys were to say, I'd give my dog, or I'd give Ike whatever, whether it be your water or your first aid kit, or, they really enjoy working with the dog and they have a lot of respect for him because, they're relying on Ike. We're not going to put him in a situation to fail or get hurt, but the unknowns are always there, and that's kind of what he's there for, is to find individuals that we don't want to go in and find ourselves because it's too dangerous. Being selected for the Distinguished Service Award means a lot to me. Not for me to be recognized, but for my team, because obviously without my team and without Ike, I wouldn't be here for this award. It's quite an accomplishment in my mind.
Congratulations, Deputy First Class Miller Yakovic and Ike. Selecting the Deputy of the Year is always difficult since all the nominees are very well deserving. This year's award goes to a deputy that consistently went above and beyond to protect and serve the citizens of Frederick County. Currently assigned to the traffic unit, his stats speak to his commitment, making over 65 DUI arrests last year, issuing nearly 1,400 citations, investigating nearly 300 accidents, and making 21 additional arrests. Deputy Nathan Rector has displayed outstanding service and initiative. His dedication to keeping Frederick County safe is unparalleled.
The best moment for me was probably making it onto the traffic unit about 7 years ago. That's really what I wanted to do after about 7 years of working the road. I worked myself up to the knowledge of what I need to do to be able to work on a traffic unit. Overall public safety, I think, is what the traffic unit really goes for. We don't really focus on one more than another. There are some initiatives that occur throughout the year, like in April will be a cell phone initiative, things like that. We're also starting to focus a little bit on talking with my captain about pedestrian safety. We did have that one fatal last year, the one before, around 85 through 55 area with people walking through the middle of the road or standing in the medians. Being selected Deputy of the Year for 2018, it's incredible. I'm so appreciative of that. The only thing I would like to add maybe is that I used to drive a blue Dodge Charger, and so if you got used to me behind you in your rearview mirror with that blue Charger, I don't have that one anymore, so be on the lookout.
Congratulations, Deputy First Class Nathan Rector. The Sheriff's Office is also tasked with maintaining operations for the Frederick County Detention Center. The detention center houses inmates that are incarcerated for 18 months or less. With over 125 officers on staff, they maintain 24-hour operations 365 days a year. This year's Detention Officer of the Year has distinguished himself time and time again as someone deserving of this award. He consistently volunteers to cover shifts for other officers who need time off. He only took 11 hours of sick leave for 2018 and never hesitates to jump right in when assistance is needed. Correctional Officer First Class Jacob McClellan has been instrumental as a coordinator with the gang unit. His work has led to the identification and validation of nearly 20 persons involved in gang activity. He assists with training future officers at the academy and is always eager to share his skills. Officer McClellan is a combat veteran serving in the United States Army prior to joining the Frederick County Sheriff's Office.
It's a good thing to wake up and want to go to work to see your coworkers, and I think that's my favorite part. The officers that I got the chance to train, I really enjoyed doing that, and seeing someone go from day one not knowing how to get in the door to a full-blown correctional officer. I think that's really cool to watch. Things that might have stood out for 2018. One incident that happened was a bad incident. We had a correctional officer that actually lost his life in the detention center. I think that stood out for all of us as the main incident that happened in 2018. But in a way, it also brought us all closer together. Being selected as Correctional Officer of the Year, it's huge. I mean, I'd definitely like to thank my supervisors and anyone else who nominated me. It's pretty awesome.
Congratulations, Correctional Officer First Class Jacob McClellan. The Sheriff's Office isn't waiting for crime to happen before they hit the streets. They implemented aggressive, proactive policing in areas that have been identified as crime hotspots around the county. This approach is spearheaded by the Proactive Criminal Enforcement Team, known as the PACE Team. This unit is not only responsible for engaging these problem areas, but they also assist the patrol teams, conduct yearly in-service training for all deputies, provide security at Winchester Hall during council meetings, and assist the Narcotics Investigation Section with investigations and arrests. During 2018, the PACE team responded to nearly 2,400 service calls, as well as coordinating, managing, and proctoring 11 successful in-service training days for the agency. And if that wasn't enough work, they also made approximately 275 arrests, mostly for drug-related offenses. They also assisted the Pennsylvania State Police in apprehending a robbery suspect and assisted Montgomery County Police Department in the apprehension of a suspect accused of rape. Members of the PACE team continue to fulfill the mission of the Sheriff's Office and serve as an example of the effectiveness of proactive community policing. Congratulations to the PACE team on receiving the Unit Achievement Award.
PACE stands for Proactive Criminal Enforcement, and we're a team. We consist of approximately 4 to 5 deputies throughout its existence. It started several years ago. We are part of patrol. We do supplement our patrol team.
We also get pulled by narcotics and criminal investigations to assist them in locating people or whatever their request is.
When we get an assignment, what we usually do is we come in, we brief as a team, because usually when we go out and do our tasks, we're going out as a team all together.
The best part about being a part of the PACE team is you're working with great people, and these people are true leaders in the agency, and they're awesome supervisors to work with.
We also see how effective we are about what we get involved with whether it's drug arrests, whether it's responding to calls for service to help our teams out on patrol that we work with. It's an honor, obviously, to receive this award. But you know, I know the rest of the Sheriff's Office work just as hard, but it's nice to be selected for something like this.
I would like to thank Lieutenant Dieter and Lieutenant Packard and Captain Hibbard.
When it comes to thanking individuals for my time with the Sheriff's Office and on PACE, again, my family, my wife, and my kids.
I would like to thank my wife, obviously, and then just everybody I work with, all my teammates, everybody I work with now. It's been a pleasure.
I guess one of the biggest things I need to thank is my wife and family. She's been very supportive. My kids have been very supportive. Without them, I couldn't be as effective as I've been in my career.
Congratulations to Lieutenant Jason Dieter, Corporal Trevor Hadger, Corporal Brian Woodward, Corporal Charles Zhang, Deputy First Class Brett Welsh. We now present the awards for the Maryland State Police, Frederick Barrett B. Our next award, the Leadership Award, goes to an individual who is the definition of a true leader, always seeking to share his knowledge and experiences. Sergeant Paul Schur is a true asset to the Frederick Barrack, the citizens of Frederick County, and Maryland State Police. Currently, he's assigned to Team 5 and has been the primary supervisor since 2012. His team has been Team of the Year for the Frederick Barrack the last 2 years in a row. In 2018, the team investigated over 350 accidents, conducted nearly 4,000 traffic stops, and had over 90 DUI arrests and nearly 30 criminal arrests, all under the leadership of Sergeant Paul Schur. Sergeant Schur is also the barrack supply officer, along with his host of additional duties that call on his knowledge daily, leading from the front exactly what Sergeant Schur does, and his actions demonstrate his commitment to the Frederick State Police and the citizens he serves. He is a mentor for young troopers and is highly respected and often asked for advice by his peers.
What drew me to this career was the opportunity to go out and help people, to handle accidents, to go out on domestic violence calls, and work with people in the community. Being selected for this award, I'm very honored for it. At the same time, I guess I'm like a lot of people that I go out and do my job. I show up for work. Over the course of my career, I've met a lot of good people with the state police and other agencies as well, that you can tell that they do what they do every day because they care. And that really makes a difference, and that's what I try to live up to as well. One of the things I enjoy the most now from my position is just being able to help those guys on the road to make them better troopers. I've spent 19 years, had a lot of arrests early on, and still waiting to meet that first bad guy, because all I've really ever met over the years is good people that made some bad decisions.
Congratulations, Sergeant Paul Schur. Our next award goes to Trooper of the Year for the Frederick Barrack. When reading his nomination and seeing his statistics for 2018, there's no surprise that he would be nominated by several individuals. During 2018, he led the barrack in traffic stops, making over 1,300. He issued 555 warnings, over 130 safety equipment repair orders, and investigated over 200 accidents, making nearly 20 DUI arrests and 37 criminal arrests, along with all the other accomplishments shown that Trooper Brad Zimmerman is dedicated to keeping Frederick County as safe as possible. He was selected Barrack B Trooper of the Month in October 2018 and received honorable mention for 4 other months. His professionalism, positive attitude, and initiative make him a model trooper. He does have good mentors, as one nomination came from a supervisor who received Trooper of the Year twice during these awards.
When I was younger, I always wanted to work in law enforcement. It just something about the way that the state police have carried themselves and the troopers have met over the years. Frederick County is definitely a special area to work in with law enforcement, especially being bundled with the county And I think it's for the moment anyways, it's just small enough that it makes it a nice relationship. I know a lot of the deputies by name. Being selected for Troop of the Year, to me, over the last year when I was working for it, I think every task I was given, I was just trying to do it as perfectly as I can each time. So, and I think wearing that award going forward, I just kind of need to emulate that and show that to everybody that I interact with. My wife teaches, and I go to her classroom and read the kids and stuff like that. And I think that's important in this day and age with everything's going on, to have that kind of community outreach, because I mean, not many people talk to law enforcement these days, and it's nice to show people that we're approachable.
Congratulations, Trooper First Class Brad Zimmerman. Thank you. Our next award is presented to Frederick County Animal Control's Officer of the Year. This award is given to the officer who exemplifies outstanding service, initiative, leadership, and meritorious action. 2018 was a very busy year for Animal Control Officer Rachel McVeigh. She investigated 3 prominent cases of animal cruelty. Her nomination form described her as consistently objective, persistent, and detailed in her approach to all of the investigations. Because of her hard work and research, all the animals involved in the cases received justice for the cruelty they endured. The investigations aren't just about seizing animals, as the animal control officer will attempt to work with the animal's owner to remedy the current situation and offer solutions. It is very evident during Rachel's interview that she is very passionate about her job, whether it involves a cuddly kitten or an angry bear.
Being selected as Animal Control Officer of the Year, it's a huge honor. It's just reinforcement from my supervisor and the director that I'm going above and beyond, doing our day-to-day job. My first cruelty from 2018 was in May. That turned out to be a felony case where the accused was charged with cruelly beating a toy poodle with a Swiffer sweeper handle. Interviewing owners, witnesses, veterinarian, getting all that documentation together, meeting with the state's attorney's office to see if we do actually have a case that they feel can be pursued with criminal charges. I'm the voice for the animals that can't speak. We know we can't save them all, but for this, I know I've made a difference. I know I've saved more than the average.
Congratulations, Animal Control Officer Rachel McVeigh. Our next award is for Brunswick Police Department's Officer of the Year. Officer Lynham joined the Brunswick Police Department in April 2017, but he's not new to the law enforcement field. Previously, he was a deputy sheriff in Montgomery County and brought his experience and expertise to Brunswick. Over the course of 2018, he conducted several traffic stops that have resulted in felony drug arrest, including drug distribution. He also located a vehicle that was involved in a drug-related shooting and apprehended suspects wanted in a home invasion that resulted in the homeowner being stabbed. The dedication of Officer Lynan to the safety and well-being of the citizens of Brunswick is very clear in his actions. Law enforcement is also a family affair with the Lynan family, as Sean's brother Kevin is also an officer with Brunswick Police Department.
We're able to go out, interact with the community, and form those relationships. And I think ultimately that's beneficial not only to us as police officers, but also to the community. A gentleman called in and he said thousands of dollars of power tools had been stolen. He needed those tools to do his work, to support his family. It was determined that the suspect had pawned the tools. So I was able to not only make an arrest in the case, but also recover every single tool that he had stolen and give it back to him. So he was grateful, and it felt good. Being selected Officer of the Year for the Brunswick Police Department, it certainly means a lot to me, knowing that our command staff thinks that of me. It is definitely, I'm grateful for that.
Congratulations, Officer First Class Sean Lynan. The Frederick City Police Department's first award is for Officer of the Year. The officer receiving this award had a monumental task for 2018. Almost weekly, there was an article in the local newspaper about excessive loitering and criminal activity along Carroll Creek Linear Park and various other downtown city parks. Officer Samantha Payne was tasked with assessing the situation and making these downtown locations safe and friendly for all residents. She went out armed not with citations, but with resources and options for those who may be homeless or needing assistance. By doing this, she was able to establish relationships and share the abundant resources in Frederick County. By humanizing the approach, she was able to establish rapport with the offenders and get to the root of the issue rather than just write repeated citations for the same offense. Her work on this community policing project has been shared with other city agencies in an effort to combat the homeless issue downtown and make the city safe for all residents and visitors.
I was drawn to this career because we actually do have the opportunity to help people make their lives whole. Some of them, when they realize that you're there to help, are willing to receive it. They might not knock it out of the park and get it right the first time, but I had a gentleman who, he was on what's called drug court, and he said, I don't know if you remember me, but you arrested me, it was like 7 or 8 years earlier. And he said that arrest got me into this program. And he said, this is the first time since I was 16 that I'm sober. I treat my wife better, and I have a job. So that tells me that we're here for the right reasons. Being selected for Officer of the Year meant everything because of the supervisors that gave it to me. To know that it also came from the citizens of Frederick, who I believe is my true boss. To know that they appreciated the effort that I'm doing to try and make the city better means everything.
Congratulations to Officer First Class Samantha Payne. The Leadership Award is given to someone who demonstrates highly effective action toward achieving positive change as he or she strives to improve their department. The recipient of this award was a very easy choice for the selection committee. His dedication to the Emergency Communications Center for the Frederick City Police Department has brought the agency back to staffing levels that they haven't seen in years. 2018 was a very challenging time for the Emergency Communications Center as they embarked on a complete overhaul to the hiring process. John White stepped up without hesitation to spearhead the effort to recruit, hire, retain new personnel. In addition to his daily duties at the call center, which included his supervisor duties and him filling in as a call taker many days, he also went to recruiting events. John also scheduled additional testing times in an effort to allow individuals who were currently employed to take the test without having to take days off from their work. By implementing these crucial changes, the agency was fully staffed by late summer 2018. John also instituted quarterly meetings which were instrumental in improving communication between staff and leadership in the department. He is credited for keeping employee morale at an all-time high despite the long hours. It is our hope that John has been able to relax a little bit, but as his nomination form stated, that he has to be reminded to take time off for himself. We suspect that he is just as busy today as he was then.
The best part of my job, I would say, is the people that I work with. They all give me the support that I need. If I ask them to do something, they do it. My colleagues would most likely describe me as fair and respectful. The best part of my career has been the past year where we've been actually able to get fully staffed and keep staff members on board and get well-qualified applicants that come in and do the testing and have passed and have been hired on as employees. I've had many mentors along the way, a lot of them from the department. The main thing that I've taken from all of them is to treat people fairly and respectfully and show them what type of leader I am and show them how to go along the way and lead them along the way. Being selected for the leadership board really humbles me. I try to, be the best leader that I can and lead by example. So I try to show my employees that all the hard work eventually will pay off, and that no matter what the struggle is ahead, we have to keep moving forward and keep going through to come out on the other side.
Congratulations, Mr. John White. The next award is a prime example of persistence and determination. Had it not been for the actions of Officer First Class Kyrie Wolf, this story might have had a very different ending. The victim in this case had been abducted at knife point by an estranged partner and taken first to D.C., then Loudoun County, Virginia, where she was told that she would be killed and then her partner was going to commit suicide. Officer Wolf's video explains the case.
It was late last year. I took a call for a missing person A female's mother called in and had reported that her daughter was to meet with a significant other to obtain some of the belongings back. Mom didn't get a text back, so she wanted to report her missing, thought that it was odd, hadn't heard from her. I actually made contact with the victim. Things just seemed really off. She was very short, abrupt with her answers, didn't really want to converse. I then contacted Loudoun County Sheriff's Office because her significant other was reported to be staying down there. They knew that that's where she lived and that's where my reporting party, her daughter, had stayed. I spoke with the actual suspect's mother, and she had confided that the victim was there and that she had made a comment leading her to believe that she wasn't there on her own free will. So I recontacted Loudoun County Sheriff's Office and requested them to go back out. At that point, the suspect had fled. They were able to pick up my victim. I then went down to Loudoun County, picked up my victim. They located the suspect in a nearby restaurant and apprehended her there. Mom was very pleased, so it went very well. The suspect is still incarcerated, so it's a good ending for everybody.
Because of Officer Wolf's actions, we're pleased to present her with this year's Life-Saving Award. Congratulations to Officer First Class Curie Wolf on the Life-Saving Award. Due to an operation being conducted this morning, Officer Wolf is not able to accept her award. The next two awards are for the hard work of the telecommunicators at the Frederick County Emergency Operations Communications Center. The first award for the Emergency Communications Operations Center goes to the Outstanding Telecommunicator of the Year, recognizing an individual who demonstrates the highest level of performance while on the front line of call taking, dispatching, and/or supervising and demonstrating professional conduct at all times. During Carly's interview, she stated that there is, quote, no normal day for each telecommunicator, and that's one aspect that she likes about her job. Each day brings a challenge and emergency which she handles with absolute calm and professionalism, from a cardiac arrest call to a possible suicidal individual. Carly took these calls and every emergency call in between walking the caller through the steps and dispatching the proper emergency services quickly and effectively. It's no surprise that she's gotten letters thanking her for her outstanding performance.
There's not really an average day in emergency communications. It can be, just an aggressive driver on the interstate one time, or we can have a cardiac arrest the next minute. The biggest call I took is a mother who, her son was outside and had a knife and was threatening to kill himself, and she had locked herself in her car and had called us, and her mother, the caller's mother, was inside. I had the caller give me her mother's phone number, and then I had the call taker next to me call the grandmother and tell her what was going on and to get herself locked in a room safely, which she was able to do. When I found out I was selected for Outstanding Telecommunicator of the Year, I was very shocked, but it's an honor, and I'm, extremely happy, and it's just a very rewarding job, and then to get an award like that, it means a lot.
Congratulations, Emergency Communications Specialist Carly Jordan. Meritorious Award recognizes sustained, exemplary performance by an individual both within and outside the scope of their normally assigned responsibilities. This includes call taking, dispatching, quality assurance, training, and all facets of the 911 center. Taking calls in the center is a stressful job we can all agree on. But when that call comes from a child, it takes a special individual to handle the situation. Renee Coolidge was the perfect person to have that call when a 6-year-old called in regarding a family member who had fallen down the stairs. Renee's ability to connect with the caller in a way that she could understand the questions Renee was asking allowed emergency personnel to arrive on the scene quickly.
The best part of my job is the people you talk to, the community. You get to know a lot of your community and just helping people, you know, helping them through an emergency situation that they can't get through on their own. I was nominated for an incident that I helped a child out. Their grandmother had fallen and I had to direct her on giving me a story of what she was seeing and keep her calm and make sure I had the correct address, guide her to go outside, open the door, look at the numbers on the house, make sure she left the door unlocked, to go get a neighbor to come back over to help us, to get grandma help. It was a high intense situation that I had to keep calm for her and keep her calm. Receiving the Meritorious Award to me is humbling. I feel like I'm awarded every day when I go in to say this is what you've done and you've done a great job is just phenomenal to me. I'm humbled.
Congratulations, Emergency Communications Specialist Renee Coolidge. We recognize the Division of Fire and Rescue Services, starting with an award that has multiple recipients. This year, we award the Bronze Medal of Outstanding Performance to a very deserving crew from Junior Fire Company Number 2, Shift B, for their actions on May 15th into May 16th, 2018. The county experienced some of the worst flash floods in years, and just before 8 p.m. the calls started coming in for water rescues and didn't slow down for the next 8 to 9 hours. During that time, the crew took almost 30 calls for service and made hours of searches for possible trapped individuals. With no time between the calls, they went from call to call and stayed in the same wet uniforms with only the safety of Frederick County in their minds. It should give us all peace of mind knowing that such dedicated individuals such as this crew are standing ready in case of an emergency.
The incident that we were nominated for occurred on May 15th. It was the floods here in Frederick County. We got some pretty significant rain.
It started out as any kind of normal late spring day. Around dinner time, some rain came in, brought in some hail, and then very quickly, Frederick started to flood.
We were all standing outside watching the thunderstorm, being like, wow, it's a lot of water in the street. And then all of a sudden, all these calls for flooding came in.
I remember standing out on the front apron at Station 2 and looking at the street and just watching the water level rise and thinking, oh boy, this is going to get bad. And sure enough, we got the call. Station 2 houses the boat unit for the county.
The rains came so hard and so fast that people were just driving on everyday routes that were dry 10 minutes ago, and next thing you know, they were in feet of water. So you got people who are stranded out there on top of their vehicles, in their vehicles, and they don't know what to do.
We made a decision that the four of us, Joe Morvek, Bernie Studs, Gemma DeStachio, and myself, were going to load up on the boat support unit, and we were going to go out and run calls. And the calls kept coming in, and we were out for 8 or 9 hours, you know, going from incident to incident.
It seemed like we were just kind of going all around Frederick City, just going from one water rescue to another. Some are more complex than others, but overall, I think the whole division of fire rescue services were very busy that day, and there was a lot going on.
I think we all kind of worked together pretty well for that night, and there was a lot of stuff going on, so to be recognized is pretty cool.
Congratulations to Lieutenant Dan Winters, firefighter Joey Moravec, technician Bernie Studs, and fire medic Gemma DeStachio. Career Firefighter of the Year is another award that always has multiple nominations who are all more than deserving of the award. The individual receiving this award today, firefighter John R. Arnold, consistently goes above and beyond for the citizens of Frederick County and his fellow firefighters. Future firefighters are extremely lucky, as John is currently assigned to the Training Academy, where he is an instructor and maintains the academy equipment. John is consistently seeking new training opportunities so that he is up to date on the latest in techniques and equipment, many times taking this training on his own time. His actions are never self-serving and always reflect the professionalism of the Division of Fire and Rescue Services. It was very apparent to us during the interview how much John loved being a firefighter and how important it was to him to be able to pass his knowledge on to others.
In the fire department, there is no average day. You never know what you're going to encounter. Obviously, it could be anything from a serious or significant call to something just very humorous that happens in the firehouse with your coworkers. Probably the one thing that you can depend on is the camaraderie within the fire department, in the station, your peers, your supervisors, the individuals that you work with every day. I definitely enjoy helping people. That's the most rewarding part. Aside from that, I enjoy being in the firehouse with the brothers and sisters. So I'm going to say that I've had a lot of mentors. If I steal anything, I try to steal their personal traits that I think can make me be a better person. So being nominated for the Career Firefighter of the Year in Frederick County amongst 400 other employees, I'm very appreciative of it, and I was very thankful to be nominated for it as well as selected.
Congratulations, firefighter John Arnold. The Gold Medal of Valor award is presented to an individual who demonstrates valor in the face of extreme danger. When this honoree found out that he was selected for this award, his first comment was, "I was only doing my job." While running into a burning house may just be another day at work for him, his actions were instrumental in saving a life on October 22nd, 2018. I'd like to have John Charest tell his story that day.
So let me tell you about that day. It was around 4:30 that afternoon. I was home cooking dinner for me and my two kids, and I heard the call go out, and it said that they had a person trapped. For Independence to get there, it would be a good 10-minute ride, that if somebody's trapped, I need to go there now. As I was going by the house, I noticed that there was smoke coming out of the house. I went to the next driveway up, abandoned my car in that guy's driveway. I ran up the driveway in which the house was on fire, and the lady was there screaming, yelling that her house was on fire. And I asked her, "Where's your husband at who's trapped?" So she said to go on the side of the house into the basement. I ran into the basement, feeling the walls, feeling everything, and I ran into him, which was good. At this point, both of us were sucking a lot of smoke. Wasn't good. And then we got to the door, got him, started pulling him up the steps. That's when I noticed all of his skin, his burns that he had, first, second, third-degree burns on his skin, his face, his hands, his knees, and his feet. Once I got him to the very top of the steps, then I could hear the fire trucks coming. The ambulance and a medic unit was immediately there, put oxygen on him, and he ended up getting back in the ambulance, and then he went to the burn center in Baltimore. The Gold Medal of Valor means to me is that I did something good that day and I made a difference, but we always try and make a difference.
The heroism shown that day is a true testament at the selfless nature of firefighter Jeff Charest. Congratulations, firefighter Jeff Charest. The next award is truly a testament at how teamwork in the face of adversity is so necessary. A vehicle accident on Interstate 70 East near Myersville in mid-2018 brought together multiple agencies and responders that had never before worked together on such a large-scale accident. But that day they performed flawlessly. As the paramedic on the scene, Lieutenant Michael Steele walks us through that day.
The incident that was nominated for the Life Saving Award involved a tractor-trailer wreck on Interstate 70, where the tractor-trailer veered off of the roadway, went onto its side and into a large amount of trees and came to a rest. The individual inside really wasn't communicating well with us. He was pretty heavily entrapped, as it was a tractor-trailer that had pushed into trees. With that, it took an extensive amount of time from numerous fire companies in order to extricate him. So it wasn't your typical go to a vehicle accident and take somebody out of a car. It really did take the crews a long time to do it. I kind of had the easy job of standing back and watching, because as a paramedic on the scene, I'm not going to be able to do much for a guy that's trapped in a car.
The guys who really deserve a lot of recognition here are the guys who, and girls, who were working to free the entrapped victim off the rescue squad. Being selected for the Life Saving Award means that the actions by the individual directly resulted in prolonging or saving somebody's life. That's kind of what the entire crew here did. They were able to assist this gentleman out of the vehicle and get him down to a hospital where he could be better taken care of.
As you heard from Lieutenant Steele, there were a lot of people working hard that day to save the driver's life. With their combined knowledge and expertise coming together that day, they are all more than deserving of the Life Saving Award. Congratulations, Captain Eddie Reinert, Captain Matt Shaw, Lieutenant Michael Steele, Technician Matt Karras, Technician Chris Prestia, Firefighter Robert James, Firefighter Daniel Dodd. The Medic of the Year Award is another award that always has a busy year of stories to tell, and this year our honoree, Fire Medic Gary Ruggiero, is no exception. One common statement about Gary is that he is so compassionate with families that he encounters as a medic. Early in 2018, he was dispatched on a call that required him to use his training and knowledge and resuscitate a patient several times on the way to the hospital. After transferring the patient to the hospital staff for care, Gary went and found the family and talked to them and explained what was happening to ease their fears. His ability to calm into a situation is so important when when dealing with families in crisis. Because of his dedication to the citizens of Frederick County, there are many who have lived to see their loved ones again. Never one to feel that he knows everything about his job. He consistently seeks out training to better himself and his techniques. His actions bring a great credit to himself and the division of the Fire Rescue Services.
What's an average day for somebody in the fire service is nothing's ever average. So we try to fit in training, we try to fit in meals, we try to fit in time to relax and joke around with each other. And at the same time, when the call is made, we try to fit in solving problems for those people that can't solve it themselves. The best part of my job is just having the ability to help others make a difference. One of the best parts of my career also falls in line with being one of the scariest parts. We were dispatched to a cardiac arrest. Unfortunately, it was a newborn. We got there was a very scared mother that just gave birth. The baby was not breathing. The baby actually fit in the palm of my hand because it was premature. Did CPR for 18 minutes, and after 18 minutes, baby took its first breath, had a solid heartbeat, and I visit the baby on her birthday the past 2 years, brought her some gifts, and she's doing great. Being selected as Medic of the Year, it's a great honor. My grandfather, he passed away while I was in the academy, but hopefully he's looking down smiling because I got into this career because of him, and hopefully I'm doing right by him.
Congratulations, Fire Medic Gary Ruggiero. As a combat veteran of the United States Marine Corps, our next honoree is no stranger to long hours and hard work. Luckily for the citizens of Frederick County, firefighter Trevor Meter chose firefighting as his career, graduating from the academy in April 2018. In less than 1 year, he has proven to be a tremendous asset to his station in the Division of Fire Rescue Services. His hustle and attention to detail make him a standout and the clear choice for the Probationary Firefighter of the Year award. Often arriving hours before his scheduled shift, Trevor studies the assignments of the day and gets started on a list of house chores. Always prepared for any test that he's given or any training that he's attending, he truly demonstrates all the traits of this award.
I was in the Marine Corps prior to being a firefighter, and getting out of the Marine Corps, you're still looking for that family and that structured environment and that willingness to serve and surround yourself with those same people. The best part of my job is being able to work with the people that we do. It's all about the people and the chemistry in your shift and the environment that you work in. And Department of Fire and Rescue has, I think, the top tier of people in the whole county. So the best moment of my career would be coming out of the academy and being assigned to the shift that I'm on and the station that I'm at. It's such an honor to be able to work in the city and then to be able to work with the people that I do. But to be selected as the young guy who stands out the most is a great honor. Hopefully from here on out it sets a standard for guys behind me and just to keep raising that bar so the guy behind me can exemplify what I've done and raise the bar from there.
Congratulations, firefighter Trevor Meter. Our next award recognizes a supervisor who demonstrates leadership, commitment, and drive. The honoree for this award embodies all the traits while remaining very flexible as he is assigned as a detail lieutenant. This means that Lieutenant Matt Wells isn't assigned to just one fire company in Frederick County, but all of them. When leadership is needed at a particular location due to a vacation, time off, or training taking the station leaders away, Matt will backfill this need. He is a true asset to the Division of Fire Rescue Services as he seamlessly transitions from one company to another and functions as if he's been there all along. Leading by example and from the front were several quotes used to describe Matt. His willingness to jump in and assist wherever he's needed was very evident to us during the interview process. We attempted to schedule Matt several times for his interview, but he was needed around the county each time. His dedication is very apparent to all that know him, and it's fortunate that others within DFRS have Matt as an example of what good leadership is. We don't have a video for him, and to top it off, Matt has been called out and cannot attend. Congratulations, Supervisor of the Year, Matt Wiles. We are truly honored that there are citizens of Frederick County that volunteer their time to augment the career staff of the Division of Fire Rescue Services. Being a career firefighter in Fairfax County, Virginia, isn't enough for Captain Alex McKenna, as he volunteers in his spare time with the Vigilant Hose Company in Emmitsburg. Over the course of 2018, Alex was instrumental in identifying major target hazards within the Emmitsburg community and creating an emergency plan for all buildings located on the Mount St. Mary's College campus. After developing over 100 pages for this plan, he made sure an electronic version was forwarded to the operations at the Division of the Fire Rescue Services, and it was loaded on all the laptops in each emergency apparatus. He has built solid partnerships all over northern Frederick County and into Adams County, Pennsylvania. During 2018, he responded to nearly 25 medical calls and 100 fire calls. His volunteerism in the community where he lives is a testament to his dedication to the safety of the citizens of Frederick County.
One of the best parts of being a volunteer firefighter is really the sense of accomplishment, satisfaction, when you actually help someone make a positive impact. Whether it be as simple as there's a family of 5 or 6 people on the side of a road after a vehicle accident and you bring them back to the station to wait, or really helping someone on their worst day when their house is burned down or something like that. And small things make a big difference to people. Big things make a big difference too, but small things really, it's what you see that impact in a lot of times. Honestly, I was kind of surprised when I found out I was selected for Volunteer Firefighter of the Year. Didn't even know I was put in for it. I guess it means that some people think I'm doing a good job, so I'm going to keep doing what I'm doing and try to change what I know that I'm not doing a good job, or people point out to me that I need to change something. I'd like to thank my family for supporting me, and I want to thank the guys at the station for being there and keep up the good work.
Congratulations to the Volunteer Firefighter of the Year, Captain Alex McKenna. The Outstanding Citizen Award recognizes the efforts by individuals to rescue another or save another's life. Our next 2 honorees have the gratitude of many for the efforts they displayed in assisting in time of emergency. Our first honoree, Scott Montgomery, was definitely in the right place at the right time. On December 24th, 2018, driving home from Christmas Eve service at his church, he noticed what he thought might be a bonfire built by someone to celebrate the holiday. He quickly realized as he got closer that it was a structure fire, and it was the farm that housed the Middletown Valley Beagles, a private hunt club in Middletown. Scott put his own safety aside and raced down the lane to the structure and learned that the owners were in bed, unaware that the kennel was deeply engulfed in flames. Scott's video walks us through that night.
For me, it was a normal Christmas Eve. Headed out to the 5 o'clock service at my local church there in Middletown, and I got to spend it with my nephews. Just on my merry way home through Middletown, I thought I'll swing by, go a different way, and just beat the horn at my friend's house and just wake him up on Christmas Eve, you know. And coming over the hill, I saw a glow in the sky, and I thought, that's a little weird. Drove on up the road, and I could actually see the structure of what was actually on fire. So I was on the phone with 911, basically driving through the field, and got around the corner, and all the lights are on in the houses, but nobody's out. So I was basically the first one there. So as I pulled up around there, I could just hear the beagles yelping. The fire is 20 feet plus away, but it was very, very hot. So I did what I could do to get every dog that I could see out of there. They were running around, and there was a spigot out in the middle of their big run. And then I turned that on, and darn if them little dogs didn't realize to get in there and just roll around in that water, you know, and cool themselves down. So, but there was dogs everywhere. They were running. Outstanding citizen means to me is a great honor. You know, I was not looking for something of this nature going into that evening, but you know, it's nice to be recognized. I know a lot of people do a lot of things that on an everyday basis that don't get recognized. You know, hopefully I can take this and help other people with it, and hopefully it triggers other people to step up with what they need to do in life, and you know, be good citizen out there in the community.
Thanks to Scott's quick actions that night, there were many dogs saved and possibly the lives of the occupants of the house as well. Congratulations to our outstanding citizen, Scott Montgomery. This may be our last award, but it's by far one that made a big impact on everyone during the selection process and the interview. At only 12 years old, Mackenzie Harn sprung into action and performed at a level above and beyond her years. Growing up in a household where both parents are involved with the Division of Fire Rescue Services, Mackenzie is no stranger to emergency situations. Her calm demeanor and quick thinking on November 8, 2018 were absolutely the instrumental factors in a cardiac patient receiving almost immediate life-saving intervention. Even during her interview, Mackenzie calmly recounted the evening's events.
I was going home with my friend, and her grandfather was there. So we were on our way home, and he started making funny noises. We tried to tell him to stop doing that, and he wasn't listening, and he just kept doing it. Then we knew that something was wrong. He wasn't answering us, so we pulled over the car, and we took the seatbelt off of him to see if it was too tight. My friend's mom called 911, and I called my mom. I checked his pulse to see if he was still breathing or if his heart was still beating, and he wasn't, so my mom came and brought everyone with her. Once my mom and dad got here with the chief's car, I took my friend and we went in there so that the paramedics could do everything that they could do. Well, I'd like to thank my parents because they taught me how to stay calm during these things, and I'd like to thank my friend who's with me. I don't really know, it just feels good because I helped someone and they're doing okay now, and it just feels good.
Would Brent and Kathleen Harns please come up and join Mackenzie? Thanks to Mackenzie springing into action and calling her parents, the patient was transported almost immediately upon suffering the cardiac event and has made a full recovery today. Congratulations to our outstanding citizen and youngest award winner yet, Mackenzie Harn. Allow me now to turn the program back over to Frederick County Chamber President and CEO, Rick Weldon.
Thanks, Clark.
Thank you.
At this time, our dear friends, Jen and Stu Alcorn, would like to take time to say a few words regarding a house fire that they suffered on January 27th, 2018. So if I could please invite Jen and Stu to come up. Do that now. Here they are.
Thanks, Rick. I appreciate just having a couple minutes of everyone's time this morning. So as Rick stated, I'm Jen Alcorn. This guy's my claim to fame back here, Stu Alcorn. 11 years ago, he fulfilled his dream career goal of becoming a police officer here with Frederick City Police. And as chance would have it, at the same time Stu started in the academy, I was hired by the Plumbunding companies to further my hotel career and work here within this community. And has allowed us to become members of the business community as well as the first responder community here in Frederick. And so for the last 11 years, we grew as a family. We adapted to different shifts, celebrated awards and promotions, and we watched Stu answer many calls for service inside and outside of shifts, on or off duty. And many people over the years say, how do you do it? How are you married to a cop? Or I don't know how you do it. And I'd say we've done it pretty successfully. And over time, you become accustomed to this first responder life. There will always be fears. It would be a lie to say there aren't any. But one I don't think either of us ever really imagined was to be awoken in the middle of the night with your smoke detectors going off and your house filled with smoke, and realizing that your newly purchased home is in fact on fire. So that's exactly what happened on January 7th. So as I stand here today, I speak to what all of us already know, is that we have some of the very best first responders and firefighters, I would say, in the world here in Frederick County. Just want to paint the picture a little bit. It was 5 degrees that night at 1 a.m. The fire wasn't the only hazard that they had to deal with. We live on a long, steep driveway. There was water from the hoses, so that was ice on a steep hill. It was run from about half a mile down the road. So there was ice on top of everything else. And there was more fire stations than I can list there that night. Middletown showed up very quickly. We live in Middletown. But Carroll County, Boonesboro, countless fire stations were there. And the commanders on scene communicated with us. They used the utmost care. The chaplain was there to assist us in different ways and help us process what you can't imagine going through in the middle of a crisis like that. And they were all there trying to help us and save our home, in the process, one of our dogs. So while we suffered great loss that night, we also saw the best that our county firefighters have to offer. We were cared for in ways that we'll never be able to fully describe. And we will spend our lifetime trying to pay it forward, not just to the firefighters, but the community that came together, many people in this room, all the kindness and care that we were given from everyone. I can't let these remarks go by without saying thank you to Tom Plant and team at Paul Davis. They've been sponsoring and supporting this event since it started, and there's no guidebook when you go through a trauma like this. You don't know what to do. So they were there the very next morning and pretty much held our hands through the next several days, as well as the year plus that followed. So I just was very grateful to have this opportunity to have today to say thank you to the firefighters and all of the business community and friends and care and everyone that showed us, you know, lifted us up and held us through all of this. It's not something we ever imagined, and we really do have the very best, I think, here, and we're very lucky to have all of you. So congratulations to everyone. Mackenzie Harn's dad was actually on scene that night, and she gets it honest from her folks. So thank you to everyone.
So as probability would dictate, in the middle of our ceremony, actually early in our ceremony, a hazmat incident presented itself in downtown Brunswick. So if you noticed a flurry of activity, the men and women that are joining us today and are being honored were working just as hard today as they always do. Everyone wants to live a full life, and everyone wants to make a difference. Our honorees live a full life and make a difference every single day. Whether it's on a lonely, dark county road, on the fire ground or a hazmat incident, at the detention center, or on the radio as that calm voice of reason. These men and women help folks at their worst moments, giving aid, taking control, and bringing peace and resolution to confusion and worry. I want to thank all of our elected officials, from the federal level, the state level, the county level, and our local elected officials, for giving the weight and attention to these problems that are needed. I hope they always will. And may we all commit to reconvene here every year to recognize the sacrifices that are made on our behalf. I am so proud of the business community for supporting this critically important event. I want to thank all of you for your time and attendance. A special thank you to our honorees, and as we said at the outset, if our honorees, awardees could please remain in place for a group photograph that we'd like to take. Otherwise, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for your time, your patience, and your attendance. Please have a safe drive to work or where you go, and we'll look forward to seeing you in the future. Thank you very much.